Hello, my non-binary manifestations of evil. I'm Vampire Ian, and welcome to Batty Decks, a series where I give you a profile on a deck that I've wrote up on a whim for your entertainment. It's Halloween time, and there's a bunch of new Yubel support coming soon, so let's take a look at what the deck can do before it actually gets out. Follow me to the deck space. It's Halloween spooky time. Whoa. So here's the deck, and boy, look at all these cards that aren't currently legal. For those who don't know, Yubel is the villain of the third series of GX, who is also a card. The story between Yubel and Jaden is a whole complex thing I'm not going to get into. Let's just say it's a really long season. With the new set Phantom Nightmare coming out soon, a retrain of the old set that Yubel first appeared in, we've got new Yubel support to match that. The new stuff is generally pretty strong and still keeps within the game plan of Yubel, which is to burn your opponent to death using their own monster's attack points. Sharing the pain, as it were. Some of these new cards in particular are extremely strong, and I'll get into those in a second, but the whole thing focusing around super polymerization and burn damage has me a little concerned about its power level. This is just my theorizing on what the deck could look like. I've tested and brewed around with this, and I've also made a couple of changes since I made this specific version of the list, but I wanted to go ahead and show you what I had, so here's what we're looking at. First up, we have 3 Spirit of Yubel. This is the Yubel version of Spirit of Neos. It can't be destroyed by battle. It has the same effect as Yubel there. If this card is destroyed, though, you get the special summon of Yubel that is banished in hand, deck, or graveyard, so literally anywhere at all. And then when a monster declares an attack, you can special summon this card from your hand, and if this card is special summoned, you can take a spell trap from your deck that mentions Yubel and add it to your hand or set it to your field. So that's like a lot of effects. It's got like 4 different effects going on. It's got the protection effect. It special summons a Yubel if it's destroyed. And if a monster declares an attack, you can special summon it. And then if it's special summoned, it has an on summon effect as well that searches out a card. It's really good though. We have 3 copies of Yubel itself. This of course can't be destroyed by battle and you don't take the damage. And then if your opponent is the one attacking, they take the damage. During your end phase, you do have to tribute another monster or destroy the card. And when this card is destroyed, except by that effect, you can summon Terror Incarnate from the deck or grave or hand. It's like, okay, it's an okay effect. I put them in the side here because it only comes up occasionally. And they're such big bricks. I don't like playing them. I hate playing the 2 bigger Yubel monsters, but it really does come up, especially with the card you see on screen here, Samsara Regenerating Lotus. This card we're playing 3 of because it's the best card in the entire deck. You contribute this card to special summon a Yubel monster from your deck. That alone makes it an incredible card, because it can special summon Yubel or Spirit of Yubel. During your opponent's turn, when a monster's effect is activated while you control a Yubel monster, quick effect, you can contribute this card. That effect becomes destroy a Yubel monster on the field. That is why you might want to consider playing the other Yubel monsters, even though they're terrible. Then it has another effect where during the end phase, if you control a Yubel and this card is in the graveyard, you can either add this card to your hand or special summon it, and each of the effects is once per turn. What this means is that if you have Yubel on field, say by using Samsara Regenerating Lotus's effect to tribute itself to special summon Yubel, you can then use it as an interruption on your opponent's turn, or you could use it as tribute for Yubel, since Yubel doesn't need to tribute in the end phase. You can activate the effect of Samsara Regenerating Lotus before activating Yubel's effect, allowing you to summon the Samsara Regenerating Lotus and then tribute for Yubel. But you can also use it as an interruption on your opponent's turn, making their effect negated, essentially, but making it destroy Yubel, which then activates Yubel to summon another Yubel monster, one of the Terror Incarnate or Ultimate Nightmare if you've already got Terror Incarnate on field. So that's like a reason to play them. I just don't like it. They're so bricky. They're just, because they just don't do anything. They do nothing in hand. Unlike Yubel, which is why we're playing 3 of it. Yubel does stuff in hand because of the specific way we have things set up. But also, Yubel does more in hand if we are playing Terror Incarnate in Ultimate Nightmare. So it's kind of up to you. Your mileage may vary. I don't know what to tell you. I like having the extra room for more non-engine, but it really can go either way. Next up, we have 3 Geist Grinder Golem. This is a retrain of Grinder Golem, which was used by Yubel in the anime, much like Samsara Lotus was used by Yubel in the anime. This says you can only special summon Geist Grinder Golem once per turn. You can reveal a Yubel monster in your hand and special summon this card from your hand to your opponent's field. Then you can special summon the revealed monster to your field. So this is why Yubel is good in hand, or at least one of the reasons why Yubel is good in hand, because you could use this card to summon the Yubel to your field, and then summon this card to their field, giving them a 3000 attack monster for you to crash into to activate your effects. We'll get into more about how you actually get that burn damage in a little bit, but this also just gets a Yubel on field, which is really good. It can also get Spirit of Yubel on field, which gets you that search, because it still activates that special summon, much like Samsara Lotus could also get you Spirit of Yubel to activate that search. And there's some really good spell cards that you want to get on the field. So additionally, if this card battles a Yubel monster during damage calculation, your opponent gains 3,000 life points. Now this is on your opponent's side of the field when this happens. So that means you're gaining the 3,000 life points. So you summon this to your opponent's field, you summon your Yubel, and then you can immediately crash into it to get 3,000 life points back. Really cool. If you special summon Yubel while this card is in your graveyard, you can special summon this card to your opponent's field. So it also comes back if they get rid of it. Next up is what you're going to be searching primarily off of your Spirit of Yubel. If you already have this in hand, don't need to. But this is like the best card to be searching off of it. It's Nightmare Pain. During your main phase, you can destroy one dark monster in your hand or face-up field, and if you do, add one Yubel or one card that mentions it, except for Nightmare Pain, from your deck to your hand. So this means that you can go from Nightmare Pain into Eternal Favorite. So you don't need to choose between getting the two of them. You can also get one of the other cards like Geist Grinder Golem or something like that, but primarily, I think you're going to be wanting to go after these spell trap cards, these powerful spell and traps. Additionally, while you control a Yubel monster, all your opponent's monsters that can attack must attack a Yubel monster, and your opponent takes any battle damage you would have taken from battles involving your Yubel monsters instead. So what this does is it turns your Spirited Yubel and your Yubel into the ultimate Nightmare Yubel, which means that you can attack. You can be on the offensive and attack into your opponent to get the burn damage going, which really speeds up the strategy. It really helps. That's like so critical for this deck because beforehand you really had to rely on your opponent actually attacking you, which they wouldn't do because you are playing Yubel. Why would they do that? You know? So you had to rely on the big guys going into those. Now you don't. Now you just don't have to rely on that anymore. And I think that really frees up the deck to do more stuff and the more interesting stuff. Next up is 2 Mature Chronicle. We're only playing 2 because we don't really need 3, but I kind of had an extra room. You can cut one of these if you want to put in like Terra Incarnate or something. Each time a Yubel monster and or monsters that mention Yubel is special summon, place 1 Chronicle counter on this card. You can remove up to 5 Chronicle counters from your field to activate one of these effects. For 1 counter, you can special summon a Yubel from the grave. For 2 counters, you can add one of your banished cards to your hand. For 3 counters, you can banish 1 card from your deck. For 4 counters, you can destroy a card on field. And for 5 counters, you can search Super Polymerization. Now you can only use this effect once per turn, so you can't use both of them at the same time, but they both collect counters, so having 2 of them actually has a benefit. And the ability to search out Super Polymerization is crazy. It's just insane. The other effects are really powerful too, so I'm playing 2 copies just to accommodate getting that counter game up more. And then we have Eternal Favorite, which is the continuous trap of the archetype. Once per turn, you can activate one of these effects. Special summon one of your Yubel monsters that is banished or in your graveyard. Neither player can activate cards or effects when that monster is special summoned. Or 2, if you control Yubel, discard 1 card and send this face-up card from your spell and trap zone to the graveyard. Fusion summon 1 fusion monster from your extra deck using monster from either's field as material, including a Yubel monster. Meaning this card is Super Polymerization number 4. And it's a searchable Super Polymerization, even more searchable than Mature Chronicle's search effect. Because while Mature Chronicle can search Super Polymerization if it has 5 counters, Nightmare Pain can search Eternal Favorite whenever. This allows us to have easy access to making our fusion monster, which is a really critical part of the deck, so get ready to do that a lot. Next up, we have another 2 of, just because we didn't have room for a 3rd, and it's not good enough to justify removing something else to put in a 3rd. This is Mystic Potato. This is a card that is not yet in the TCG, and I don't know when we're getting it. If this card in the field is destroyed by card effect and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon a dark monster with 1500 or less attack from your deck in attack position. So it's the Mystic Tomato effect, except it's for destruction by card effect instead of by battle. This synergizes well with Nightmare Pain, allowing us to summon Mystic Potato, pop Mystic Potato, activate Mystic Potato, and also get a search off of Nightmare Pain. Next up is Fusion Deployment. Thanks to elemental hero Neos Kluger, which specifically mentions Yubel in its text, you can use Fusion Deployment to reveal Neos Kluger and summon Yubel straight from deck. It's really helpful, especially in hands where you've drawn the next card, Super Polymerization. We're playing 3 of it because this deck goes crazy with Super Polymerization. It's literally built to run Super Polymerization. And we'll get into how crazy the fusion monster is that you're making off of this, but just know you're going to be playing this card a lot, and this card is just a crazy powerful card. Next up, we've got some non-engine. We got 3 Ash Blossom, 3 Droll and Lockbird. You could probably trade out the Droll and Lockbird for something else at this point, maybe Triple Tactics Talent, which I have on the side. We're kind of a little bit past the Droll and Lockbird format, maybe. I don't know, it's kind of hard to tell right now. Format's a little bit of limbo, pretty much. Next we have Harpy's Feather Duster to clear out back row. 3 Pot of Prosperity because this deck really can use the consistency. You're probably going to be wanting to get Lotus. Speaking of Lotus, we have 4 consistency cards for Lotus. 1 for 1, which we can discard any of our monsters in order to get Lotus on the field. It's a 1-card combo, so you really want to get it on field. And then we have 3 Piri Reese map, which is of course based on the weirdo Piri Reese map conspiracy theory stuff. Look it up if you haven't heard about it. It's really funny. This allows us to add any monster with 0 attack from our deck by having our life points, and then you can't activate its effects until you normal summon that monster, which, you know, we're going to be normal summoning to the Lotus, so go ahead, do it. You could also theoretically search out Yubel or Spirit of Yubel, but you wouldn't be able to activate their effects until you normal summon them or until the turn after. So I would really get Lotus because Lotus gets you Yubel. I don't see any reason to not grab Lotus, but it is funny to mention that you can also get the Yubel monsters. You never know. And now for the extra deck, we have Yubel, das ewig liebe Wächter. This requires a Yubel monster and 1+ effect monsters on the field. That's it. They just have to be on the field. You can use any effect monsters, at all, on the field at all. So this is a super poly target. You just have to have a Yubel monster and then a whole bunch of effect monsters on the field. And you could just, like, literally, this is why we're playing Fusion Deployment. You summon Yubel, you activate Super Poly, you can wipe your opponent's entire board. If you have Yubel on field, Super Poly is a full board wipe. And then, once you've Fusion summoned, you can inflict 500 damage to your opponent for each Fusion material used for its summon. So each one of the Fusion materials that you use, every single monster you take from their board, you do 500 damage to them for the gall of having a monster against you. Then it also has the Yubel effect, can't be destroyed by battle or card effects, and you take no battle damage from battles. And then at the end of the damage step, if this card battled an opponent's monster, inflict damage to your opponent equal to that monster's attack. And if you do, banish that monster. Incredible. Just an incredible card. I can honestly see people playing Fusion Deployment, Super Polymerization, and then this card. And probably Neos Kluger too, to actually summon out the Yubel, because you gotta have one Yubel on the field to actually activate this. But I can see people using that as like a small package in like certain decks where they can afford that kind of extra deck space as a super poly target to just completely wipe out your opponent. It would probably have to be one that's already playing Fusion Deployment, something like Branded or Chimera, but I can see it. I've already explained everything you need to know about Neos Kluger. Nothing else about this card matters. It's just a Fusion Deployment guy. Then we have a whole bunch of other super polymerization targets. We have Garura and Mud Dragon and Starving Venom Fusion Dragon and even Predaplant Dragostapelia. They're just like the standard super polymerization targets. Like, there's nothing to worry about here. We're playing a whole bunch of level 10 monsters, so why not play a rank 10 monster? Gustav Max can help us clear out a game with just a little bit of extra burn to close it out. And then we have a link package of Nightmare Unicorn, IP Masquerena, our new friend SP Little Knight from Age of Overlord, who is going to be everywhere soon, and Access Code Talker. Again, we're trying to close out games here. In the side, I just have some theoreticals because I'm not really exactly sure what the side decks are supposed to be looking like right now. We have a Bestial package of Magnamut and Druis Worm, Cosmic Cyclone to get rid of back row, Ixie's Encore in order to deal with Pearly and other Ixie's decks, Triple Tactics Talent, which again, I think you can side into the main deck and put the Droll and Lockbird here instead, and Terror Incarnate and Ultimate Nightmare. I don't know if you necessarily actually want these in your sideboard, but I just wanted to put these here to like talk about what we talked about earlier, where I'm not really sure if you want to be playing these in the main deck or not, or if you maybe only playing Terror Incarnate so that Yubel has something to float into, and then not playing Ultimate Nightmare because you don't really need to go all the way in on the Yubel like evolution. It is kind of superfluous. I don't know. That's again dealer's choice on that. I don't like them. I am considering removing a Mature Chronicle for Terror Incarnate, and then that's it. I really don't want to play Ultimate Nightmare at all. It's just so bricky. I just don't like it. But with all that said, let's check out the games. So here's the first game, and we've drawn 3 hand traps and Samsara Regenerating Lotus, so we've got full combo. We even have Spirit of Yubel if we need it. Our opponent seems to be playing some sort of bullshit. Let's see what they do. We're gonna start with the Samsara Regenerating Lotus, attributing it to summon Spirit of Yubel. We're gonna activate the Spirit effect to search. Additionally, it sets it instead of adding it to hand, so it goes under Droll. We're going to activate it, activating Nightmare Pain to destroy Spirit of Yubel in order to add Eternal Favorite. We're going to activate the Spirit of Yubel that we destroyed to summon another Yubel, and then we're going to summon the Samsara Lotus in order to tribute it for Yubel. Actually, we're tributing Spirit of Yubel because we want to have the interruption effect. They're going to Monster Reborn our Spirit of Yubel. Then they're going to Hand Destruction. They have an Exodia piece in hand, by the way. We're going to Ash the Hand Destruction. Don't want that shit going off. Then they're going to activate the effect of Summoner Monk. We're going to use the effect of Samsara Lotus. They're going to destroy Yubel. And because we don't have any of the Terror Incarnate or Ultimate Nightmare, we can't activate the effect of Yubel here. This is why I'm talking about potentially putting in Terror Incarnate, because now we just have nothing on field. We're going to activate Eternal Favorite, though, and then we're going to special summon Yubel back, because we just don't have anything to do otherwise. They're going to summon Treasure Panda. Great. Awesome, dude. And they're going to summon Galaxy Serpent. They're going to activate Treasure Panda to banish a card and then summon the right leg. Then they're going to make Saryuja Skull Dread. And they're going to draw a bunch of cards. They're going to send a bunch of cards back. I'm going to droll, and that's the end of their turn. They're going to Saryuja in response to summon out Flamvell Guard. And then they're going to make Formula Synchron. Formula Synchron will not allow them to draw. And then they're going to go to battle and take 2800. We're going to Eternal Favorite to special summon a Yubel. Get our Yubel back. We're going to go into battle. 28, 28. That's the end of the game. Joel and Lockbird is really what won this game, but a very basic idea of what the deck does displayed here. So here we are with game 2, and we have Super Polymerization, Geist Grinder Golem, Yubel, and Pot of Prosperity. Really can't ask for a better hand than this. Our opponent is on Exosister, not with the extra accoutrements that we looked at last time. Let's see what they do. They're going to start with Exosister Stella, summoning Irene, and they're going to make Caspatel. Caspatel effect. They're going to search Martha. Martha. They're going to activate the effect of Martha. Summon Ellis. Then they're going to make Michaelis. Michaelis effect. Going to search out Returnia. They're going to set Returnia and then set another card and then summon Ellis. Now, we have to be very careful here. If we try and use Super Polymerization right off the bat, Returnia can allow them to dodge it. So, and that's the Solemn Strike that's it there. We're going to activate the effect of Geist Grinder Golem, revealing Yubel. They're going to strike our Golem. So we've got rid of that interruption. Good. We're going to Pot of Prosperity. We're just, see what we can dig through. See if we can find anything. Find Yubel, Golem, Spirit of Yubel, Lotus, Droll, Eternal Favorite. We're going to take the Lotus because the Lotus is very good. 1-card combo. And then we're going to activate Mature Chronicle, just stalling time. Okay, now we're going to summon the Lotus. They're going to activate Returnia to banish the Lotus. We're going to Super Poly. We'll discard the Yubel, and then we're going to use both of their Ixies in order to make Garura. And then the Lotus will get banished. We'll attack in, clearing out the Ellis. Another reason why we did that all is because if we had gotten Yubel onto field at any point, we could have made our Yubel Fusion, which would have been a much better thing to make. Anyways, they're going to activate Raigeki. They're going to destroy Garua. We're going to get a draw off of that. We draw in the Mystic Potato. And then we get Peri Reese Map. We're going to activate the Peri Reese Map to grab Lotus again. Lotus, tribute Lotus. Summon Yubel. Spirit of Yubel this time. We're going to then get a search. They're going to Imperm. Now, here's the thing. Apparently, Imperm removes spell counters. So we no longer have spell counters on Mature Chronicle. That one spell counter we got is gone. I did not realize that Imperm removes spell counters. Very annoying. We're going to summon Mystic Potato. We're going to get in for 14. Can't do much else. We're just kind of stuck here staring at our opponent. But our opponent is stuck here staring at us because they can't seem to draw a combo either. We draw the Peri Reese Map. We're going to go down to 2,000 and grab Spirit of Yubel. We'll activate Geist Grinder Golem. We will summon the Golem to their side, and we'll summon Spirit of Yubel to our side. We're not going to be able to activate the effect because of the Pure Reese map, but we will activate the Mature Chronicle, which will allow us to special summon Yubel from the graveyard. And then we can go battle. We'll go in. They're going to Book of Moon Yubel. We're going to go in with our other Yubel monster. We're going to gain the 3000. Now we can't do any damage because we don't have Nightmare Pain on field. They're going to use our Golem and their Exorcister Stella to make Skyshaker Ace Azalea in order to help clear our board. They're going to pop Spirit of Yubel. Spirit of Yubel is not going to be able to activate because we've gone through a lot of our Yubels. They're going to activate Exorcister Pax. We're going to Ash Blossom that, and they're going to surrender right there because they no longer have anything to do. Unfortunately, we didn't really have anything else to do either, but what we did have was 1400 attack and 2 level 10 monsters, which would have put us at almost lethal, which we then could have, you know, just waited a turn. So a well-deserved win, obviously. And here's the third game. We have a lot of engine in hand, but not a lot of non-engine, so it might be a bit of a problem, especially against a deck like Ninja, where there's a lot of interruption. So let's see how it goes. Opponent's going first. They're going to summon Hanzo, get a search. They're going to grab the trap card. They're going to set a bunch of back row and pass it back. We draw a Droll for turn. Pure Erase. They're going to activate the effect of Art of Destruction in order to duplication, I mean, to grab a couple of ninjas, bunch of ninjas. They get to two Tobari and 1 Mitsu. We're going to Mature Chronicle, and then we're going to Nightmare Pain, and then we're going to Lotus. They're going to Book of Moon the Lotus. Can't really do anything about that. We're going to Nightmare Pain to destroy the Yubel in order to get Eternal Favorite. Spirit of Yubel can then activate in order to get us a Yubel. They're going to activate the effect of Mitzi to flip up Tobari in order to negate that. We're going to Fusion Deployment to get that Yubel out. We are getting Yubel out. And then it will activate the effect of Mature Chronicle, placing a counter. They're going to Book of Eclipse. I don't really know why. It sets their ninjas back down, I guess. We're going to draw 2 cards off of that, and then we'll activate the effect of Yubel to tribute Lotus, and then we will activate the effect of Lotus to summon itself back. It also works that way, too, if you happen to end up in a situation like that. They're going to flip up Mitzi and Tobari, and then summon Kagero. Then they're going to use that to get Yugioh, the Gravity Ninja, on the field. They're going to link off for Saizo in order to set Iron Digger. They'll activate Iron Digger to pop our Yubel, so we will go ahead and activate Eternal Favorite in order to do the super polymerization. We'll discard and then choose to make the guy. We'll also use Samsara Lotus because there's not really much else reason to have it on field, just to get that extra 500 damage in. We'll activate the effect to get a clean 2,500 in. They're going to activate Rhoda to get Hanzo. They'll go battle and end turn. We draw Yubel for turn. Great, awesome, cool. We'll Fusion Deployment to get a Yubel on the field. Activate Mature Chronicle, get another counter on there. And then we can activate the effect to special summon a Yubel from grave. And put a counter back on. Isn't that neat? We'll go battle. They'll take 2,900 from this, but then the effect of Yugioh will activate in order to set the other 2. We'll activate the effect of Lotus, bringing it back. And then we'll activate the effect of Yubel, tributing the face down Yubel because we can't really do anything with that anymore. They're going to summon Hanzo. We're going to use Lotus effect, turning that into a destruction of Yubel. Don't let them search. They're going to go into Saizo. Saizo effect is going to place a Notebook of Mystery on field. Mitzi is going to come down. They're going to then fusion off for Maizen, doing a contact fusion. Get in 25 because they can attack directly. We're going to draw Ash Blossom for turn. Great, awesome. Mature Chronicle time. Special summon Yubel. They're going to activate the effect of Maizen. We're going to Ash it. Then they're going to activate the effect of Mystery in order to set Dancing Leaves and Yugioh. And then Yubel will come to field. We're gonna activate Nightmare Pain, destroying the Yubel in hand. Again, if we had Terra Incarnate, we could do something more interesting here, but we are able to get Lotus here. We can get Lotus, summon Lotus, activate the Lotus effect, bring out Spirit of Yubel, and then get a search off of Spirit of Yubel. We'll set another Mature Chronicle so we can get more off of that. But honestly, we don't even need to do any of this because we can just go into yugioh with Yubel and do that 29 last bit of damage we needed to get the victory. The Yubel victory could really just come out of nowhere because of your opponent's attack and defense points. I think that's the real strength of the deck. But it was certainly a tight duel. So that was the deck. Is it necessarily a meta contender? I don't necessarily think so. I mean, nothing we played was that competitive, and it was still having a tough time winning. The fact that it had such a hard time against Exorcister really shows to me that this deck may not be able to handle stuff like Unchained. Although if you're playing against Unchained, definitely side in the other two Yubels. If they get destroyed, you know, it really limits what your opponent can do as far as destruction effects and makes them have to destroy their own cards instead, which they like to do, but it's every little bit helps. The deck's strengths are in its ability to wield super polymerization like no other deck can, and the fact that Samsara Lotus is just such a strong card, and it's pretty searchable even just through generic search tools. I wouldn't necessarily count this out for being seen in some tournaments in the near future, and it's certainly going to show up at your locals because everyone knows that one Yubel person. Overall, this is just what's been brewing in my head for the past couple of months, and since it's the Halloween season, I figured I'd share it with you. Hopefully this gives you some ideas for your own deck. Let me know if it does, and until then, I'll see ya in the next one. Hey there, thanks for watching this deck profile. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you have any other thoughts on the build or if you played this deck and how it did. Also make sure to follow me on Twitch and Twitter for more. And maybe throw a couple bucks my way on Patreon if you like. I hope you see you again, so be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and have a wonderful rest of whatever time it is for you. Bye!